Thank you, Lester. That was unbelievably inspiring. And, I think it's always amazing that we learn so much about the people that we work shoulder to shoulder with for so many years and understand their other part of their lives and the contributions they make way beyond what we see them do with their own patients and patients who come here. So thank you, Lester. It is going to be a long journey, and you've already started it many years ago, and we thank you for that. Good morning, everyone. It's so beautiful to see the support here for your colleagues who have obviously given of their time and their talents and their skills. And I know that we have this being broadcast way beyond here today to buyers, and obviously we're going to tape it. So many, many, many people are here to thank you and support you. What I'd like to do now is to actually introduce the team that went from Children's. John Meara, Craig McLean, Gary Rogers, Dave Wiesel, Nelson Aquino, Pam Gorgone, Stella Harrington, Lisa Pixley, Jay Hartford, and Joe Joslin. Joe, who is actually a native of Haiti. They were sent as members of the children's team through Partners in Health. And unfortunately, John Meara couldn't be here, but we have a short audio slideshow that he put together. And then I think we're going to ask representatives of that team to come up and say a few words.
You get a picture here for what it looked like as we came in the morning. On our first morning, you can see a number of photographs here of an area which was called the Forest. This was a garden area in the center of the hospital, so the hospital was a square with a central courtyard. And when we arrived there, we found this forest area with hundreds, if not thousands, of patients in random array. There was no rhyme or reason. And one of our first jobs was to triage this entire area and decide which patients required surgical procedures, which required IV hydration, antibiotics, etc. And so you get a picture here for what it looked like as we came in the morning. And then there are a number of pictures here which demonstrate the total destruction of the city. It really looks as if it had been bombed. You can see here a long street with rubble on each side, and you can see one of the Navy ships just off the coast. This is a photograph here of what essentially is their Supreme Court. This was the Palace of Justice. And as you can see, it was completely brought to the ground. Example of a tent city. This is right next to the presidential palace. So all around the presidential palace, people were essentially living there in makeshift tents, tarps hung by trees. The cathedral was heavily damaged in downtown Port-au-Prince. However, the crucifixion scene here was not damaged, and the Haitians have taken great comfort in that. And if you stand here for 15 or 20 minutes, you'll see Haitians bringing flowers and praying by that site. We're in between the original palace and the cathedral. We're walking towards the cathedral. There's Gary. Again, a picture here just demonstrating the support that we received from the 82nd Airborne. So they were stationed within the hospital, actually, in one of the buildings, which was still standing, and they provided security, but also did essentially anything we needed them to do, from carrying patients to having their medics scrub in with us. This is their pediatric hospital, which unfortunately was condemned, so we were not able to treat patients in there, and that will have to be raised and completely rebuilt. 82nd Airborne providing security for the operating room to make sure that only operating room personnel were allowed in there, since we had tried to maintain some sterility in there. This is Gary Rogers and Pam Gorgone and Craig McLean working on a patient with a craniofacial injury. And this is an example of the sacrifice and the commitment from our team. For the first 3 or 4 nights, about half the team required IV fluids, and you can see Pam and Pam Gorgone and Jay Hartford here, who were getting their liter of fluid before we went home. It was hot and humid, and we weren't acclimatized to it yet, and I would say particularly the nurses were going nonstop from 6 a.m. until 10, 11, 12 at night. No one was spared. Here's an example of a almost or nearly 100-year-old woman. No one was sure quite how old she was, but she had a severe left lower extremity crush injury and required a below-knee amputation. It was surprisingly easy to get everyone to collaborate in that setting. You would think it would be like herding cats, but it was surprisingly easy, I think, because everyone was really committed to getting the job done down there.